It always starts with a whisper, a rumor in the break room, a calendar invite titled Mandatory Meeting, a manager who won't make eye contact. And then, in one ordinary moment, everything changes. Across the nation, thousands are discovering the same brutal truth: their jobs didn't just end. Their certainty did. The scene opens inside a fluorescent-lit office at dusk. Rows of empty cubicles glow like abandoned shells. A lone desktop monitor hums softly in the dark. And at the center of it all sits Maria, her ID badge still clipped to her blouse even though she no longer works here. The HR director's words replay in her mind like a broken reel. "We're restructuring. Your position has been eliminated. Thank you for your service." The company laptop, the severance packet, the escort to the lobby, it all happened faster than she could process. Maria walks to the parking lot where cars sit under cold streetlights. For the first time in a decade, she has nowhere to be tomorrow at 9 a.m. Across the country, in a small factory town, a man named Travis hangs his uniform on a hook, the final time he'll ever do it. The machines behind him fall silent, one by one, like a heartbeat fading out. The factory was the backbone of this town. Generations worked here. And now, the silence feels like an obituary. Travis stands in the doorway, stunned. "My father worked here. My uncles worked here. I thought I'd retire here." His voice cracks. "So what happens now?" The narrator's tone deepens. But this isn't just about Maria. It isn't just about Travis. This is a wave sweeping across the nation. Tech firms reducing headcount, retailers closing stores, factories slowing output, startups burning through cash, unable to survive higher borrowing costs. This is a moment the country hasn't seen in years, a collective unraveling of stability. And behind this moment lies an older, bigger story. One that billionaire investor Warren Buffett has warned about for decades. Buffett once said, "When the tide goes out, you discover who's been swimming naked." He wasn't talking about people. He was talking about companies. Organizations built on fragile models, inflated growth, cheap borrowing, and unrealistic expectations. When the economy tightens, those companies shed workers to save themselves. But layoffs don't feel like economics. They feel like grief. And grief has a way of shaping a person. The camera shifts to a dim living room. Bills spread across a table. A TV plays in the background but no one watches. Maria sits with her husband, staring at the numbers. Mortgage. Health insurance. Groceries. The math doesn't add up anymore. Her husband squeezes her hand. "We'll figure it out." But his voice trembles. Because he knows the truth. Figuring it out is harder now than ever. Layoffs aren't just job losses. They're identity losses. Routine losses. Security losses. On the other side of the country, Travis steps onto his porch overlooking the quiet town he grew up in. Houses look darker than usual. Neighbors are home earlier than they should be. He knows he isn't the only one carrying this weight tonight. He breathes into the cold air, trying to imagine a future he never planned for. The narrator shifts into a reflective tone, gentle, thoughtful. Every layoff teaches a quiet lesson most people never choose to learn. Work is not just how you earn. It's how you anchor your life. Ray Dalio believed that layoffs, recessions, and downturns follow predictable cycles, human behavior repeating itself over long arcs of time. He studied hundreds of years of economic history and found the same pattern. When costs rise and profits shrink, companies tighten. When companies tighten, workers suffer. When workers suffer, society transforms. Dalio viewed downturns not as punishments, but as recalibrations. Not as endings, but as rebalancing points. And in every story of collapse, there is always a counterstory, the story of adaptation. Buffett calls it the pivot. The moment a person realizes they can't go back to what was, only forward to what can be. This moment, the layoffs sweeping the nation, is uncomfortable, painful, unfair. But it is also the moment people learn what they're capable of when certainty is no longer guaranteed. It's the space where reinvention begins. Not loud. Not heroic. Not cinematic. Quietly. one long night at a kitchen table at a time. Maria steps outside for air. She hears children playing down the street, a reminder that life goes on even when yours feels suspended. She looks up at the night sky. It seems impossibly large. Her problems, impossibly small. For a moment, she feels something unexpected, a small, fragile sense of possibility. Travis drives through his town, past shuttered stores and empty parking lots. He parks by the old steel bridge where his grandfather once told him, "Tough times don't break us. They reveal us." He whispers the words aloud. They feel heavier now, but also more true. This is the quiet transformation a layoff forces, the shift from being defined by stability to being defined by resilience. If you've ever felt the rug pulled out from under you, if you've ever stared at your future and seen nothing but fog, if you've ever been forced to rebuild from the ashes of something you thought would last, then stay with us. This channel is not here to frighten you. It's here to illuminate moments the world tries to hide. To help you understand the financial forces shaping your life. To help you rebuild your sense of direction in times when direction feels lost. If this story resonated with you, if the struggles of Maria or Travis felt familiar, then subscribe. Like the video. Share it with someone who needs to know they are not alone in this moment. Because when the world feels uncertain, clarity becomes a lifeline. Massive layoffs have swept across the nation. But this is not the story of collapse. It's the story of transformation. The job may end, but the person does not. The identity does not. The capacity to rebuild does not. The world is shifting, but so are you. And sometimes, the moment that breaks you is the moment that builds you in ways stability never could. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one you get to write from here. And if this story moved you, if it made you think differently about money, risk, or your own journey, consider joining us here at Market Mark. Hit like, subscribe, not for the algorithm, but because it tells us you want more stories like this, stories that make finance human again. End with a cinematic closing sentence, something like, "Until the next story, this is Market Mark, reminding you that wealth starts in the mind."